What up? Salvador Briggman here, hailing in from Miami, Florida. It is a beautiful day here in Miami, which is a little bit rare this time of the year. Sometimes we get a little bit of rain. Wherever you are hailing in from, we have people who are listening from around the nation. We have people who are listening from around the world to this podcast. Sometimes we even have people that come on this show who've also been a listener of the show. So where you are, no matter who you are, whatever you're doing, if you're, for example, you're commuting to work and you're listening to this show to download a little bit of information in your head when it comes to crowdfunding, or you're maybe on, getting ready, or you're doing the dishes, or you're going on workouts or on runs, I value your time so much. So I really appreciate you showing up for this episode and also showing up for yourself, really becoming a student of crowdfunding. And for me, crowdfunding has been a passion, a labor of love. I would say a love affair that has lasted so many years. And it's because I keep seeing people being successful every single week. And I try to bring those people onto this podcast, real world entrepreneurs, people that are crushing it, that are working in the trenches, and we're sharing with you what's happening behind the scenes. If you pull back the curtain, what actually goes into a 6-figure campaign? What goes into a 7-figure campaign? They're coming on the show and they are spilling the marbles. They're telling you the tea behind this. Like, they're actually sharing with you nuggets of gold when it comes to what is effective, what are the strategies, what are the techniques, what are the resources that you can use to really smash through your goal when it comes to a crowdfunding campaign. And oh man, not only is that a great resource, if you look back in the episodes of the archives of this podcast, you can see so many episodes, people from different tabletops, people from artist categories, people doing films, but as well, people doing gadgets, gizmos, physical products, design products, you name it, you can find an example of success on this podcast that probably you would resonate with. Maybe from a similar walk of life, or maybe from a similar gender, maybe from the same age range or the same resources you have access to. I guarantee you, you will find an example of success if you look back into the archives of this show. And that's really my goal at the end of the day. I want you to know this is possible. I want you to know that other people are doing this every single week. It's not to really hold this over your head, but just to share with you, hey, this opportunity is there. I can't believe it exists still. I can't believe it's still going on. I can't believe that this is so easy, that literally the easiest time in the history of the planet to be able to launch a new product, to raise money for it, and to use crowdfunding and some of the stuff we talk about on this show. So today we're going to speak with a creator, and you're going to hear that episode in just a second, who not only launched a successful campaign, but also he's going to tell you the story of how he came up with a product idea. Really interesting story when it comes to that, the journey as well, how he was able to raise investment capital to get this whole sucker going. Now there's a bunch of people who are working underneath him. He's brought this new product to market, and he's used crowdfunding as a way to connect with those early adopter customers and to get this into other people's hands. So you're going to hear the entire story today. Not only are you going to learn a ton, but it's also very inspirational. And the last thing I want to mention before we jump into this podcast episode is that if you have been searching, if you've been searching the globe, if you've been searching the internets, the interwebs, if you have been looking for how do I actually get this thing funded? What do I got to do every step of the way? Just give me a formula, Sal. I'm asking you, right? Well, I've bottled up that formula and I've put that into an incredible book called The Kickstarter Launch Formula. I know I'm not very creative, right, when it comes to the naming. It's the Kickstarter Launch Formula, guys, and you can download a free copy of this on Audible. If you sign up for a free trial of Audible, you'll get a free copy of The Kickstarter Launch Formula, and it's also available as a paperback version on Amazon or as an ebook. You can check it out there. But the link for Audible, if you want to listen to me with my passion, my enthusiasm, my pizzazz when it comes to this, go to check out crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio. That link is crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio. That link will take you there, and you can grab a copy on Audible. At the end of this show, I'm also going to talk about a way to work with me and also another free resource, but we've been going on long enough. Let's dive right in and let's discover how this individual is able to raise money successfully on Kickstarter and then transition into Indiegogo in demand for his product, JordiLight, a headlight flashlight for adventure. It's coming up right after this. Hey guys, welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. Today we're speaking with a creator who's been able to attract more than $90,000 on Kickstarter from more than 500 backers, recently transitioned to Indiegogo, and this is for JordiLight, the ultimate headlamp flashlight for home and adventure. And guys, we are lucky enough to be speaking with that creator here today. Robert, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me so much.
Definitely. Maybe we can kind of get started by you filling in some gaps in that introduction. Just let the listeners know a bit about your products and what you've been raising money for here.
All right. So basically, JordiLight is the ultimate adventure utility flashlight. It's a flashlight that you can use literally for everything, from climbing a mountain to scuba diving under the sea and everything in between. We've been working on the project now 6 years, and we were finally able to bring it to market with our Kickstarter launch. And we're going to be going live with it on our website as well as other online retailers, hopefully by the end of August, early September, which will be the same time that we're delivering the product for the first time to our early adopters on Kickstarter.
Very exciting. Very exciting. I saw here, yeah. So it's like for hiking, for camping, for biking, rock climbing, really easily fits on many different surfaces on your head, or you could strap it to different places, right?
Exactly. So basically the main idea is that it's a flexible flashlight. So you can bend it into a handheld flashlight. You can wear it on your head with the included strap as a headlight. You can hang it on your equipment and gear. And it's also magnetic, so you can actually attach it to any metallic surface. And then on top of that, we also added in a whole bunch of different features. Like it has a touch sensor, so you can control exactly how much light is on or off. It has a built-in safety feature. So if you're holding it or wearing it and you were to fall or something were to hit into you, it would automatically activate an SOS mode to make it easier for people to find you. As well, it would send an SMS message to your emergency contact.
Love it.
And we even packed in there an e-compass. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Really cool. A lot of functionality packed in. How did you come up with this really cool idea?
So a few years ago, I was on a camping trip with some friends, and we ended up getting stuck in a very rocky area. And it was nighttime, and we got a flat tire.
Oh, geez.
All night long, we were fumbling around with different kinds of flashlights, trying to have enough light to change this tire. And we ended up not being able to. Because the tool we were using was, the wrong size for the bolts.
Oh gosh!
Then fast forward a few weeks. I had a nightmare really about running away from people in the dark, holding a U-shaped flashlight in my hand, and I touched the front of it.
That sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah. It was quite scary. I remember. So I touched the front of the light, and it turned on and lighting my path. And then I ended up getting to a wall that I needed to climb. And instead of throwing it, I put it on my head and I climbed. And during the course of that dream, I actually fell, and that woke me up. And that's where it clicked. This is what we need: a U-shaped flashlight that you can hold and wear.
So interesting.
Exactly. Thank you.
So interesting, and it's kind of cool how you basically came to the solution within a dream, right?
Yes.
Have you created products before, or have you done e-commerce before?
So I've worked in distribution, and I've worked in other kinds of sales with services and marketing and stuff like that. So this is the first time I go to retail with a product.
Very cool. Very cool. Just kind of one question on that, I guess, is I think that to do something like that, like most people are going to have a dream or a bad experience and be like, gosh, that was a horrible story, right? But you kind of took that experience and you actually were able to execute on an idea and get something out there. Why was it something that you really knew that you had to get out there? Like what kind of pushed you over the fence when it came to that?
Because what really pushed me over the fence was the fact that I fell in love with the idea itself. I've been, I love adventure. I do some climbing, scuba diving, lots of camping and hiking. And when I had the dream and I wrote it down, it just clicked in my mind that, this is something that we definitely need in the world, a more versatile, useful, and technology-infused flashlight. And that actually inspired me to push the vision of the company even further, where we're actually going to be going in and inserting technology into other adventure gear as well, like tents and bikes and backpacks. So the company, JordiLight as a flashlight or as a product is really our flagship product, but it's going to bring in the rest of our vision. Hopefully in the next few years, you'll start seeing lots more adventure gear from us.
And honestly, that makes so much sense because you are out there in the wilderness, right? And I think that tent and camping technology and equipment hasn't been upgraded at all, honestly.
Exactly.
So it makes a lot of sense. How long were you working on this before you really brought this to Earth with a Kickstarter campaign?
So I started working on this project in 2017 on my own. I have a little lab, like a computer electronics lab in my house. So as a hobby, I was always tinkering in there. So the first, let's say, 3 years, I was kind of doing it on my own in my lab. And I had some help from a designing company here called 12 Degrees. So they helped me to, really make it look like a beautiful product. Because as far as design is concerned, I'm not very good at that. I'm really good at the technology side. So once we had a product that I felt would be worth, going out there, that's when we looked for investors, and we brought on some early investors in 2020, and then continued the development for manufacturing. And then when we saw that the product is ready enough to be able to say, okay, we'll be able to ship by this date, that's when I said, okay, now it's time to go to Kickstarter. Because what we need really at this point is the early adopters to kind of come on, support us, buy the product, get it in their hands, and then really tell the rest of the world what they think of it.
Yeah, for sure. And I can imagine that's a huge endeavor, right? Going out there, getting investors. Do you have any advice or tips on that front of how a beginner or how someone who does have an invention or creation should go out there and like find investors? Is this from your local network? Were you doing networking? Like, how are you actually connecting with these people?
So at first it was, my friends and family. So I went to, all my friends had seen it. My family had seen it. So I kind of hit them up for an investment at first. But then later on, I kind of fell into the entrepreneurship journey, where I started looking at accelerators and early programs that would help us get better and become more ready to go big. So my advice would be, do a lot of research, look for investors, figure out what kinds of products or companies that these investors are investing in, and then basically, send them all emails and don't give up.
Yeah, I think and obviously having like reasonable expectations of it takes time, right? I imagine.
Oh yeah. It takes lots of time, lots of work. When I started with the product in the first place, all of my time was taken up by the technical stuff. Now that we're, more of a company, we have 11 employees, mostly technical people. So my role has kind of shifted to becoming more management of those people, and as well as investor relations, looking for investors, looking for sales, that kind of thing.
Very exciting. So you've been in development for a long time with this product. You have some investors and you're like, okay, we're going to unveil this sucker on Kickstarter, right? What was kind of going through your mind like the day before you went live here?
I had crazy butterflies. I know we have a great product and everybody I show it to loves it. We had a great community as well behind the scenes that we built over the course of a few months. But I still had, I wasn't sure how well it would be received. But, thankfully it went really well. The first day we doubled our funding goal. And then over the course of a month, we got to 624%.
Very exciting, very exciting. And I think honestly, the fact that people are rallying around this and just looking at some of your comments, there's so many positive people, right, that are saying that this is really cool, asking different questions about it. Like it's clear that people connect it with it, right, in the same way you did.
Exactly. Exactly.
Kind of as a follow-up question, one of the things that you mentioned in our pre-interview is this idea of like community engagement, right? And this really being critical for campaign success. Do you think you could expand on that point a tiny bit?
Yeah. So basically we already had a good presence on social media. And what we did was we created this VIP group, if you will, for JordiLight adventurers. And we started inviting people to join the group. So and we also had them sign up to get notified about the launch of the Kickstarter. And the idea behind that is really, to build up the hype, get people excited. Those are going to be also the first people that you ask, should we go with a green package or should we go with a red package? What should we offer on our campaign? Those are your consumers, and they're really a great sample of the people that are going to come on Kickstarter as well to buy it. So we asked them lots of questions. We showed them what we were thinking. They gave us advice as well on, like color schemes, as well as different ad videos, different graphics that we were going to use. So they were really instrumental in getting us ready for the big day.
That's actually, I was going to say that's really interesting. And I think a lot of people are afraid to kind of share that information with early adopters, because like Well, wouldn't they want like the whole baked, product? Like, wouldn't they want that? They're kind of afraid of like what's too much to reveal. Were you more just like you didn't even have that kind of thought, or did that also pass through your mind?
No, I mean, the only thing that I was worried about sharing really was maybe the internals of the device, because it is a very public platform. And while we do have patents on the device itself and the electronics, it's still, a bit touchy, with lots of copycats out there. But other than that, I was very open with the community, and we always wanted to be very transparent and get their feedback, because at the end of the day, the person that's buying it, your customer, is their opinion is the most important. And a lot of people, I feel, get kind of bogged down in their own mind that, it's my idea, it's my vision, my thing. I should be the only one that's putting in input. But in reality, without your customer, you don't have anything.
So this was a very obviously important community for you to build. Were you going as so far as like talking about pricing as well, or was that something you unveiled then or later?
No, we kind of we played around a little bit with it. We didn't give them an actual number, but we did have lots of open conversations on our chat group, and where we'd say, hot or colder kind of thing.
That's a good way to do it. Definitely people showed up. I mean, you got funded so quickly, you got past your goal. What was it like after that first week when you kind of have a little bit of a sigh of relief, or what was going through your mind after that first week when you were live?
So the first week, the first day, I remember I stayed up pretty much all night watching the numbers going up and stuff. So it was lots of adrenaline, I would say. And then it kind of tapered off as much as adrenaline and it became more pride, I would say. I was very proud of the community that we built, as well as the product that we're releasing. I was proud that, we got some, validation finally after all these years of work that, the public will want to buy our product.
Yeah, man, you turned like a nightmare into a dream. Like, how cool was that? Right. And I can imagine, like you mentioned, the pride and like enjoying that people are able to check this out. You've done so much research. Do you feel like there are any things that are not said that creators should be aware of if they want to have a success like yours, if they want to get people backing it? Do you feel like there are any things they should be aware of in order to make that happen?
So, definitely it's very important to build the community. Number one, make sure that you have a beautiful landing page that people can go to when they see your ads or see your posts on social media, and have them go to that landing page where they can sign up and get some kind of extra perks, right? Then you have to have regular and transparent communication with your community and the general public, because it's a product that's never been seen before. It's never been reviewed before. So people need to have some kind of, anchor to build trust with you on as a brand or as a company. So without being transparent, it's going to be very difficult for you to get that trust. And then you have to have, you have to be really well prepared. Don't skimp, I would say, on the creative stuff that you're doing, like the posts and the designs and all the different assets that you're going to be using for your campaign and the build up to that campaign.
If you're worried about the fulfillment and shipping part of your Kickstarter campaign when it comes to getting out all those perks and rewards to your backers, rest assured I've put together a complete Kickstarter fulfillment and shipping checklist for you, and it's free. This is sponsored by the folks at Fulfillrite, and they thought that you should have this checklist as part of your arsenal going into a crowdfunding campaign. If you want to get instant access to this checklist, and it's free, you can go to fulfillrite.com/checklist. Again, that is fulfillrite.com/checklist, fulfillrite.com/checklist. Just go to that link and you can download it immediately.
As someone who is more technically minded, more of an engineer, you said yourself, right? How do you then execute, or what's your approach to figuring out those pieces of the puzzle, right? Because you're kind of in your workshop and you're working on the product, and it's like, oh, now we have to do this whole other skill set, right? What was your approach to trying to solve that problem?
So my approach was, I brought on help. I'm well versed in marketing as far as building a marketing campaign or something like that. But when it comes to, the creative part or what the messaging should be and so on, I couldn't have done it by myself. So I went out and I found an agency that would help me with that.
Yeah, and I think having those right partners, right, is so critical, because maybe they have more experience than you, or they can fill in some gaps, like you mentioned, or you're focused on something else, right? So it can be quite daunting. The other thing I noticed, like I was looking down your page, and by the way, you have a beautiful page. Like everyone should go and definitely check out this Kickstarter campaign. It looks really cool, lots of cool icons, great gifts. Like it looks something really exciting. You have so many media mentions. Like I was really surprised about that. How do you get so many of these media publications to be talking about you, even saying that you're the best invention of 2022, right? How do you do that? How does that come about?
So again, it's a great team, constantly reaching out to different media outlets, sending emails, sending, requests for, being part of their stories. For example, the Time Magazine, it was the team that told me, we should apply for this. We would probably get it, this and that. So we applied on the Time Magazine's website, and about 8 or 9 months later, they came back and they said, "Oh, you've gone to the second stage of the selection process, and we'll be in touch."
Wow.
And then we did an interview with one of the reporters there, and we sent them a sample. And then I think another month or two after that, they were like, "Hey, you got it, and you're going to be in this year's issue." So that was super exciting.
That's exciting. Jeez,
yeah.
I can only imagine what that day is like being able to say you had that kind of a media mention, right?
Yeah, definitely. I was jumping up and down.
Do you feel like that's kind of when your creatives, I guess, paid off? Like is that what you sent them, or a press release, or I'm not sure what you submitted?
Yeah, so we submitted images that we had done, both real and generated. Let's say like renders, 3D renders, and we had lots of copy that we had been writing and basically honing in over the last few years. So we sent them that as well.
Yeah, that's so exciting, and I think that just lends a tremendous amount of credibility too, right? When you are running the campaign and people see that, and I think it can really create that transparency that you mentioned, right?
Absolutely, exactly.
So in launching this, there's so many different areas and parts that you were participating in. What do you feel like was most rewarding to you?
Most rewarding for me was definitely seeing all the wonderful comments on the page itself and the messages that we got, and even emails and calls. I got calls from people all over the world, and everybody's excited about the product and finally getting the product. So that for me was the most rewarding.
And what was the reaction like internally, right? Because you're now working with teammates. What was your reaction from like friends and family and your teammates? Like, how are they reacting to this?
Oh, everybody was super excited. One of my friends, for example, every time we made an extra 1,000 in sales, he would send me a message and he'd say, "Oh, 49, oh, 50, 51. So like he kept me updated. All my friends and family called and congratulated us. The team, went far above and beyond in supporting it, and we were very, very happy with the result. Yeah.
So you basically went from having this career, right, of working in distribution, I think you were saying, and also the background in marketing, and now you're doing this company full time, right?
Yes, correct.
And sort of like, I guess you kind of fell into this a little bit, but was it always your vision to be like a business owner, or was that kind of something that just kind of happened along the way?
No, I mean, I've always wanted to own or have my own company where we would do R&D. So that was always my goal from back, in high school, basically, because I've always been a very tech savvy person, working on computers and electronics and programming. And my degree is actually in computer science. So what I fell into, I guess, would be the marketing and the distribution. But the whole time I was working in my day job, I had my lab and I was building, home automation devices for myself. I did a video game on mobile. I also built some systems for like sales and marketing for the company that I worked at. So when I got the idea for JordiLight, it basically pushed me into saying, okay, this is something worthwhile. This is definitely something I want to go after. And that's when I said, it's time to transition back into what my dream was in the first place.
So it's pretty clear, you have a lot of talent, right? When it comes to bringing ideas into the real world, executing, getting things done. So I guess, one of my questions that I was just kind of wondering is, do you wish you had done this sooner? Or do you feel like this came at a good time? Like, do you wish you had launched your own product sooner? Or what are your thoughts on that?
To be honest, there are days where I wished I had stayed in the tech field from the beginning. But at the same time, I don't think I would have been ready to launch this product today if I hadn't gone and done the other things first. I learned so much from my journey and so many, let's say trade secrets and so many different ways of working and procedures and like having a kind of set strategy in mind. I wouldn't have been able to do that back in the day. Back then, I was, younger and maybe more naive. So I don't think I would have been ready, to be honest, to launch the product then.
So really having that experience is kind of what allowed you to kind of cut your teeth, right? And be able to really launch something that wows people and gets them excited and also has the technology built in to support that big vision, right?
Absolutely, exactly. And I couldn't have done it without, my years of experience outside of this field.
Well said, well said. So what are your plans after this? From what I understand, you're now on Indiegogo, is that right?
Yeah, so we moved it to Indiegogo on demand. That's to give more backers, more early adopters, let's say, the opportunity to get a piece of our product. And then we're going to be launching. We're going to be delivering to the backers end of August, beginning of September. And at the same time, we're going to be delivering products to an Amazon warehouse, as well as another 3PL for us to have it on our website. And we're also looking for, distribution deals in the rest of the world. And we're looking to get into, more retail, online and offline as well. And then we're also going to be developing.
Very exciting.
Yeah, thank you. We're also going to be developing.
You're firing on all cylinders here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an all-out, marketing blitz. I love that.
Thank you.
And I imagine, selling to online is going to be a little bit different, right, than doing the Kickstarter, because you're not just early adopters, and that's going to be obviously very cool and rewarding. Do you feel like you're going to be doing another campaign this year? Is it going to be maybe next year, or any thoughts on that?
Yeah, probably next year we'll do another campaign when we release our other products. So we have two more flashlights that will be coming out next. One will be a budget-friendly version, which has the fall sensor as well as the touch controls and the Bluetooth, but none of the other stuff. And that's going to be for a better price point. And then we're also going to be doing a pro version, which will have GPS and LTE on board. So you'll be able to track your movements and send that emergency message without having the phone.
Very cool. Very cool. So where can people go to learn more about JordiLight? Where can they go to discover more about your company and also your products?
So they can definitely look us up on any of the social media channels. It's all at JordiLight. And then we also have our website, JordiLight.com. So people are welcome to come on there, take a look. And if they have any questions, they're more than welcome to send us an email or even give us a call.
Got it. And I just have one or two more questions for you. So the first one is, in looking back, I think a lot of people can kind of hear about your story and like, wow, this guy has investors and he's obviously very technically sound and he's launched a campaign that's raised over 90K, right? Like it seems like so much is happening behind the scenes. For someone who's just kind of getting started, what advice would you give them to really have the best chance when it comes to launching a campaign like this?
First of all, never give up. Keep asking for help. Knock on as many doors as you have to get to your goals. And research and test, trial and error. Testing is, I think, in today's world, testing is very much underrated. You should definitely be testing, different messages, everything about the product has been tested. Basically, we took the initial design to focus groups. Then we took the final product to focus groups. The app has gone to focus groups. So everything was testing, A/B testing on social media, everywhere. So that's, for me, the most important is to kind of have this scientific mentality of, you come up with an idea, then you test it with a theory, and then finally you have your result and you go with that.
Well said, well said. And my final question for you, and we can end on this note. You can either end with a final tip that you'd like to share about Kickstarter. You could end with a quote that you like, or just a word of encouragement to other people that are out there. Any of those, and we can end on that note.
I think what I would say, I would reiterate, starting a startup or making a new product and launching it on Kickstarter or launching it anywhere is very daunting, but it can be done. It's a lot of work, but it's easier than you would think. You have to keep working at it, keep your eye on the prize, and just go for it, and don't give up.
Well said, Robert. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to your next campaign launch, and I'll be sure to include the links to your campaign in the description.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Nice talking to you today.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. My name is Salvador Briggman, and I'm bringing to you every single week new episodes, sharing with you with real-world entrepreneurs, people that are doing it every single week in terms of raising money successfully using crowdfunding, and kind of pulling back the curtain and just sharing with you what the heck is working nowadays, right? What do you do in order to replicate these results? How are they actually pulling this off? And how can you do the same thing? And to me, this is such a massive movement that we have created, something that's spilled into other places as well. For example, I have the forum, the online forum, kickstarterforum.org, which has more than 10,000 members on it. We have a Facebook group as well that has more than 10,000 members, LinkedIn group, more than 10,000 members. And my gosh, we got a YouTube channel, guys. I don't even know that, but we have a YouTube channel and we have more than 40,000 subscribers on that channel. So the crowdfunding community is thriving. It is strong. And I think that the number one thing that separates my listeners and my people that are my students and the people that are readers and watchers in my channel, I think that what separates my community from everyone else's that's out there is that we are action takers. We're not just kind of, spinning this idea, this dream in our heads that we're never going to take action. We are actually showing up. We're taking responsibility. We're moving forward. We're getting access to the right information, and we are actually moving that boulder up the hill. We're smashing through obstacles. We're willing to solve problems in order to impact the world, to get a new product out there, to build a brand from scratch, to create more financial freedom in our lives and that for our family, to start a new business. All of these things, we are committed to taking action. I'm also here to help you in terms of sharing others who are doing this on the journey. But if you want to go a layer deeper, I also have a free course out there available for you that will really get you up to speed with how to actually launch one of these campaigns successfully, virtually guaranteed to have better results than anyone else who's running a campaign. I'm telling you, the stuff I share in this free course, it just speeds up the entire process. And you don't have to spend all your time hunting around trying to figure this whole thing out. I've already done it for you, right? You don't have to go out there and try to solve this Rubik's Cube, because it could take you a lot of time, and it could really be, I think in that way, a waste, because you could be focused on something that you're good at. So that being said, go and check out this free course on Kickstarter. Go and check out this link at crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. That link is crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter will take you to my free Kickstarter course, which will share with you exactly what you got to do to get a fully funded Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign. The techniques I talk about apply to both Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and you can go and grab it at that link. In addition, I said that at the beginning that I would share a way to work with me. This honestly, I'm going to be pretty clear with you guys. This is not for everyone, okay? This option is not for everyone. And that's because this is really about someone who is massively committed to their success, someone who is an action taker, someone who wants to speed up the journey, wants to turbocharge this sucker, and wants to make sure that they're doing it right. Most importantly, that they're doing it right. If you're investing so much time, so much energy, so much financial resources, and trying to get a new product out there, trying to launch a campaign, maybe even trying to do other categories like a tabletop or a film or a book or something like that, it makes sense just to spend a little bit of time, to invest a little bit of time with experts in the space. And one other thing that I wanted to do when I started my podcast back in 2015 and my blog back in 2012 was I wanted to make myself available to the community. And the way I do that is by offering individual one-on-one intensive coaching calls. These are for you if you're really interested in not only getting a complete marketing strategy when it comes to your crowdfunding campaign, but going through existingly what you have to do in order to be successful, review your your actions, put together a plan together, a timeline as well, and also introduce you to other people potentially in this industry, other resources and tools that you might not know about. So if you have any kind of doubts or any kind of uncertainty about launching this campaign, rest assured by the end of one of these individual coaching calls, you will feel confident, you will feel excited, and you'll be armed with literally weapons of crowdfunding gold, right? Which you can actually go out there and you can use to attack some of these problems that beset many other different creators that are honestly big pitfalls that many other creators will fall into. So that being said, go and check out this link. You can fill out some information, fill out the form, let me know more about you, what you're trying to do, and we can get that call scheduled ASAP. That link is crowdcrux.com/coaching. Again, crowdcrux.com/coaching. That's crowdcrux.com/coaching. Go and do it now before you forget about this later, or write this down if you are driving. Don't do this while you're driving, man. Concentrate on the road, right? But if you're if you are listening to this in a safe place, you can go and check out that link at crowdcrux.com/coaching. Awesome, brother. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Hopefully you took away some great tips and advice and also some inspiration. And we will be back here next week with another incredible episode I'm going to be sharing with you. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman, and I will see you next time.